Hello doll fans and welcome back to Beauty Inside a Box. Today I have a rather random video for you. No, I'm not investigating the murder of Barbie. This is actually Barbie's crazy, extensive, massive family tree. And I thought it might be a fun little trip down memory lane if today we go through the whole of Barbie's family tree, and down here we have all of her friends as well. Obviously, Barbie has been around since 1959, so she's pretty old. She's in her 60s now, and she's had a lot of different friends, a lot of different family members, and some of them have served different purposes for the Barbie brand throughout time. So let's take a little trip down memory lane and take a look through some of Barbie's family and friends throughout history. First of all, if you love dolls and Barbie as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to check me out on Instagram and TikTok. And anyway, let's get on with Barbie's massive family tree. Obviously we have Barbie here in the middle, and then up above her we have George, her dad, Margaret, her mum, and I've also added in here Millicent, who is Barbie's aunt. Now, George and Margaret have only ever appeared in animated TV series and in some books. And Millicent has appeared in quite a few of the Barbie movies. And Millicent is actually Barbie's middle name. Barbie's surname is Roberts. Now, there are a lot more Barbie family members that appear in the films and the TV shows, but that would make this list like double as long. If you want me to make a whole separate video where I talk about Barbie characters from the films, then I will do that. But at the moment, we're only talking primarily about Barbie characters that appear in doll form, because I'm more interested in dolls, personally. Now next, kind of in the middle, but kind of off to one side, we have Barbie. Here she is. Bling! Barbie, the true icon, the bow which ties this whole family tree together. From Barbie, we have all of her family coming off this way, all of her friends coming off this way, and then Ken's family and friends coming off this way. Now let's go on a little trip to Barbie's family. Now Barbie, as I'm sure you're aware, has loads of sisters. Now the kind of point of Barbie's sisters is to represent the Barbie doll in different age groups. These dolls are also targeted towards different age groups. Barbie's first ever sister was Skipper. Now I have a picture of the very first Skipper doll and one of the most recent Skipper dolls. Skipper was originally introduced in 1964, and Skipper has a whole host of friends. She has Scooter, who is very similar but with brunette hair. She was originally introduced in 1965 and was retired in 1976. We also have Tiff, that was introduced as part of a kind of active line where they were bendable, they had bendable body parts. And she was introduced in 1971 and was retired in 1973, so she didn't last very long. And she was actually Skipper's tomboy friend, so she had a slightly more masculine energy. And she had a sister called Fluff. Yeah, that's her name, Fluff. Skipper also had a friend called Courtney, who was brought out in 1989 and lasted all the way up until 2018. And Skipper also had an African-American friend called Nikki. Now, you may remember that Barbie later on also has a friend called Nikki, and a funny thing about this timeline is a lot of the names are reused, so see if you can notice where the names have been reused over and over again. Skipper had a couple of boyfriends. Sometimes they were just called her friends, and sometimes they were called her boyfriends. There was Ricky, who was her very first boyfriend from 1965 until 1967. And then in 1980, she had a boyfriend called Scott. And then from 1990 till 1995, she had a boyfriend called Kevin. Hey, Editing Joey here. I thought I would just let you know that Skipper does have some modern current friends as well, mostly as part of the babysitters line, but they don't have names, so I didn't include them in this list. Barbie also had a cousin called Jazzy, and I believe she was meant to kind of appeal to a more teen demographic, and she only ran from 1988 until 1992, the year I was born. And Barbie had a slightly younger sister called Stacy, who was introduced in 1990 and is still available today. Barbie also had siblings called Todd and Tootie, who were twins. Now these two twin siblings are kind of ever evolving. They remained as Barbie's twin siblings from 1965 until 1972, but eventually Todd lost his sister. We don't know what happened to her, she just disappeared. And from 1991 until 1996, Todd was mostly depicted as being one of Stacy's friends, and sometimes he was used as Midge, one of Barbie's friends, younger brother. So Todd has really been around. And this is the thing about Barbie's friends and family, it's pretty malleable, it moves around, it changes, very interesting. Stacy also had friends called Jeanette and Whitney. They were both used from 1994 till 2006. Now it seems Stacy doesn't have any friends because they've all just disappeared. Hello, it's Editing Joey here, and I just want to quickly say that Stacy does have friends now. They're part of the Team Stacy line, except like lots of Barbies these days, they are unnamed. They don't have names. Now we are going to go on to one of Barbie's younger siblings. This character was kind of depicted as a toddler. This is Kelly. Or as she was known in the UK, this is how I remember her, Shelley. Now, she was named Shelley from 1994 all the way up until 2010, when she had a name change to Kelsey. And she has been Kelsey ever since. So from 2010 till now, this is Kelsey. Kelly had a whole bunch of friends. Loads of them reused names from other Barbie dolls. For example, Nikki. Hello, Editing Joey here again. Just to let you know that Kelsey, similar to Skipper, also has some current modern friends, except again, they don't have names, so I didn't include them on this list. Now Barbie also had a very short-lived baby sister who only appeared from 1999 until 2001, called Chrissy. She's called Chrissy. I miss Chrissy. I used to have quite a few dolls that had Chrissy dolls. I think Barbie needs a new baby sister. I think probably one of the reasons why they retired her was because people thought it was actually Barbie's baby. To be honest, quite often I thought it was Barbie's baby. Now we have to go down here to the bottom to Barbie's extensive list of friends. Now over here we have Barbie's first ever friend, who was called Midge. She was produced from 1963 until 1966, and then she was discontinued. She has ginger hair, she's really cool. I would love to have one of the original Midge dolls. And then she came back in 1988 and she lasted until 2004, where she disappeared again. She disappeared again and then she reappeared for the Barbie Life in a Dream House show. That show was great, by the way. I absolutely love that show. And associated doll line. And she appeared then from 2013 until 2015. I definitely think they should bring back Midge. She's a great character, and I love some consistency in the Barbie line. It's great to have some of those core characters kind of stay there. First of all, we have Francie, Stacy, and PJ, as you can see depicted here. Francie was Barbie's mod friend. Francie is actually Barbie's cousin. So Francie should probably actually be up here, but anyway. She was meant to kind of play into the mod style that was so popular at the time. And she was released from 1966 till 1977. And there was also an African American version of Francie which came out. And then we have Stacy. Stacy was made from 1968 till 1971. And she was meant to play into the Beatles mania that was happening at the time, the English invasion that was happening in America, because she's Barbie's friend from the UK. And last of all, we have PJ, who was released from 1969 till 83. And PJ is meant to be Barbie's kind of hippie 1960s friend. Okay, next across we have Whitney and Becky and Kayla and Devon. Now, Whitney was used from 1986 till 1999, and I think her face mold has been used quite a few times since. Becky was Barbie's first friend from 1997 to 1999 to be in a wheelchair. And now we have Kayla. She was also a couple times called Leah. I don't know, they just kept changing her name. And she was around from 2000 to 2006. And then we have Devon, who was only used for the dance club line, and she was introduced in 1989. Next up we have Grace and her little sister Courtney, and they were introduced in the Sis line. When, sadly, the line was discontinued, she kind of graduated into being one of Barbie's friends, and she remained one of Barbie's friends until 2015. Quite a few of Barbie's friends disappear around 2015. I don't know what happened then, but they were like, bye! She had a massive unfollowing on her Instagram. And next we have Miko and Kira, and she was also called Marina in the EU. This girl could really not stick to one name, and she was produced from 1985 until 2001. And then next we have Teresa. She is Barbie's like olive skin friend. I'm not sure exactly where she's meant to be from, but she was produced from 1988 until now. They still make Teresa dolls now. Okay, next we have Raquel. People will often remember Raquel as Barbie's antagonist, kind of. They are still friends. They're more like frenemies, and she appeared in the Barbie Life in the Dream House TV series. She was originally introduced in 2006, and then, yet again, disappeared in 2015. And next up we have Christy. I love Christy. Now, Christy was the kind of African-American doll which I remember from my childhood. She was originally introduced in 1968. And was continued to be in production. She was originally part of a mod line, I believe, but she continued to be in production all the way up until 2005, and then she disappeared, and then she reappeared very briefly in 2015, and then she disappeared again. Okay, there's a whole bunch of friends which I'm not going to really talk about from Barbie's band, Barbie and the Rockers, and also Barbie's friends from the Generation Girls line. She had a whole bunch of friends that were just specific to that line. But, you know, these dolls definitely reuse a lot of face sculpts from previous dolls. And then there's also Shani, which was another spin-off line, and Aisha, is that how you say that? Another spin-off line from Barbie. These characters were included in some Barbie lines. Okay, next up we have Steffy. Again, this face sculpt was reused a couple times, but she only appeared in 1972. And then we have Carla, and she was produced from 1975 to 1976. And then we have Jamie. She was produced from 1970 to 1972. And then we have Kelly, who, again, we're repeating some names here. Kelly, who was made from 1973 to 1974. Next up, we have Harper, who was only ever seen in the Barbie vlogs, interestingly enough. And then we have, I think her name's Renee, and we have Rena, is that how you say it? Rena, who was a doll which was only produced in Asia. And then we have Daisy, who was introduced in 2018 and is still currently about somewhere. Next up we have Nikki, who was originally introduced in 2006, and don't you love this doll? She's wearing a t-shirt which has one of the Barbie movies on it, and I absolutely love that, and she is still about today. Next up we have Blaine and Summer, who were both originally introduced in the Cali Girls line, the California Girls line, and now Blaine was Barbie's boyfriend for a while when she broke up with Ken. She had like a spring-summer romance on the beach with Blaine. Bit awkward. And we have Summer, who continued to be made until 2015. They were both originally introduced in 2004. Okay, so that is all of Barbie's friends. Hello, editing Joey again. I just wanted to say that Barbie does still have new current friends, a lot of them introduced in the Fashionistas line, although yet again they don't have names. I find it kind of sad that Mattel don't name Barbie's friends anymore, but she does still have friends. They didn't all disappear in 2015. Then we have Ken over here. Ken was originally introduced in 1961, so 2 years after Barbie, as Barbie's boyfriend. And they have pretty much been together ever since. You know, they had a little hiccup in 2004, but they have been one of the most solid couples I've ever seen, and they've been together for a very long time. Now, Ken has a brother called Tommy, who was originally introduced in 1997. Here you can see him in a kind of Big Brother Ken and Baby Tommy 2-pack. Really love this set, I really wish I owned it. Tommy was never really depicted as Ken's younger brother after this set. He became more part of the Kelly line and just became one of her friends. If we go down, Ken had a friend called Alan, who was meant to be dating Midge, and had a kind of midge vibe. He also had red hair. He was originally made from 1964 to 1965. He didn't last very long. But then Alan was reintroduced in 1991 when he married Midge. And they had this whole big wedding. Here you can see Barbie's previous little brother Todd has now become Midge's little brother. Random, who knows. And interestingly enough about the Alan face sculpt, it, after this set, became the Ken face sculpt. So they literally swapped faces. How weird. After Midge and Alan got married, they later on had a child as part of the Happy Families set, and they even made dolls of Midge's parents, the baby's grandparents that you can see here. Ken also had a friend slash frenemy called Ryan, who is also Raquel's brother. So there you go, I guess kind of being the antagonist runs in the family. Ken also had a friend called Todd, another Todd, there's so many Todds. And Todd was only introduced as part of a kind of wedding line, and he married someone called Tracy. Both of them never reappeared again. This line was produced in 1983. And now Ken has had quite a lot of African American friends as well. Brad, who was introduced in 1970, he was advertised as being Christy's boyfriend. And then later on in 1975, he had a friend called Curtis, who was meant to be boyfriends with Cara. And then he had a friend called Steven, who was also meant to be boyfriends with Christy. And he was around from 1988 until now, apparently, although I haven't seen any Steven dolls for quite a while. Okay, so there we have it, doll fans. I have spoken through the whole of Barbie's incredibly extensive family and friends tree. Wow, there have been so many different characters in the Barbie line, it's actually insane. I would love to own some of these dolls. Some of them are very rare as well. Barbie's friends and families tend to be some of the rarest dolls. Let me know what you think of my list. I'm sure I missed a couple people out. There are more offshoots of the Barbie line and spin-off lines which I didn't get into. But please let me know what you thought of my list. Please let me know if I left anyone out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok and check out more of my videos, and have a great week, doll fans. I will see you real soon. Bye!